So do you think, though, the role of the agent will change? So let's fast forward, and we know you and I both understand fundamentally what's happening and how quickly this is happening. Fast forward 10 years.
Yes.
Now, you can't even comprehend how quickly it's moving 10 years, but fast forward 10 years, have you got a picture in your mind what a real estate agent does then?
Oh, I wouldn't say, it'd be pretty arrogant to say you could see that.
Just a picture that...
No, but I would say, look, I think the real estate agent will change, and I made this comment to a presentation I made yesterday. The internet allows people to be absolutely fully informed, not only about what's happening in the market, but how people are about feeling and how they're thinking about this particular property. So the real estate agent of tomorrow will be a highly digitally competent person.
Right.
I'll be able to say, I've listed this property. I can now access REA and its social networks and see what people are saying about that property. I'll access Facebook and see what the commentary is there. I'll start to know really about the well, not the interrogation, but as a vendor, Mr. Vendor, in where we've published this online, there have been 100 people that have looked at the property. There have been 50 people that have saved it to the calendar, and 20 of those have turned up for an open inspection. I'm highly optimistic we're going to sell your property. Or the converse goes, Mr. Vendor, there's a dozen properties, the inquiry rate for you is 20% less than the average. We have two choices. We can reinvigorate the campaign, or we can think about a change of pricing approach for your property. So to me, the real estate agent of tomorrow is someone who understands how discussion and commentary happens in the internet and how measurement and statistics apply, and then they put that to their advantage on behalf of their vendor.
Right.
So I have a very clear conceptual picture about what a successful real estate agent looks like.
So will the real estate agent, the traditional real estate agent, and this is just chatting, this is fireside chat,
yep.
Right? So will they survive or be able to transition, or if you were me and engaging in the team, people that are 50, 60, 65 years old, 70, because that's traditionally
yep.
you know, something that happens, will they be able to have a support system to allow them to continue, or do you think they'll get excited about the whole concept and they'll embrace it? How do you see that transitioning?
Well, it's a really good question, and I'd answer the question in three parts. It's up to people like realestate.com.au and Real Commercial and the other businesses to help the industry understand how to transition. And that's actually part of our job, and we understand that and we accept it. The second component is it requires industry leaders like you and peers of yours in other states to take the leadership role to say our industry actually has to change, and we're going to invest in rewarding you, training you, and saying, no, we now want you to behave this way.
Yeah.
The way of the past is the past. Now, when you recruit people, you recruit to a profile, you recruit to a competency, like, you know, that you can use the internet,
yes, yeah.
You understand it, you're comfortable with it, and in your business, the TOOP+TOOP way, this is the way that we want you to engage with consumers and vendors. And the third and probably the most important part is your age has actually got nothing to do with it. And my mother turned 69 the other day.
You're a youngster.
And she's, I'm 48, and she is the most technologically literate person that you'd come across. And the thing that drives her is that she's just got a personal desire not to be left behind. So she manages her own super fund. All of that's online. Buys and sells shares online. So she's 69. So it's got nothing to do with your physical age. It's got to do with the fact that are you prepared to accept that you have to change the way that you do business?
If you want to get the benefit from it.
So you asked me 2 years ago, you know, what had I done? The biggest thing in REA is we've got them to accept that we needed to change. We were too slow.
Yeah.
We were not looking
I agree with that.
And we were not looking at the market the right way.
Yeah.
And now we understand that consumers or homeowners want a particular type of information. The agents want us to help them list, sell and rent. And we've just spent close to $15 million upgrading our technology for realestate.com.au, our measurement stats. Now we can give you 22 independent measurements about what's happening with your listing in your site right now.
Speaking, just rewinding just slightly to your mother, I had my mother on TOOP TV this week because we opened the Abbey.
Right, okay.
Which, long story, but she used to live behind the Abbey in the Manse.
Okay.
So I had her on telling us all about that.
Right.
But TOOP TV is streamed out live on a computer. And she said to me this week, she said, Anthony, I think I'm going to have to get a computer. My friends have been emailing me, and I've been asking to email me. So all of her friends, it's peer pressure,
absolutely,
are into it. And I have a belief system, which is contrary to probably a lot, but I think you'll agree with it based on your comments, that what is starting to happen now, there's this momentum building in the 60 plus, and they are really switching onto this, and they're starting to go, this is a whole new world as we start to slow down, our bodies start to slow down, that we can enjoy even from bed, even when we're, crippled or, they can travel the world from bed.
Yeah.
And that realisation, I reckon that switch, personally, is being flicked on, probably started a couple of years ago, but it's really getting momentum now.
No.
Do you agree with that?
I do. I mean, my mother at the moment, her eyesight's not as good as it used to be. And so I said to Mum, well, what do you want for Christmas? And she said, I want one of those iPads because they're good to read on. I said, how do you know that they're good? He said, I walked past the Apple store the other day.
It's unbelievable, isn't it? Yeah.
And she walked in, so she's absolutely, so I've got to go and spend $1,000 and buy her an iPad.
Now, so where are we heading with that? So it's not just a matter of having fun in that. That means that sending content like real estate information to the market is no longer a 30 to 40-year-old exercise.
No.
I think within a very short time, and I think it'll be by the end of next year, when we send, we being, real estate, send out information online, it is actually going to the entire market.
I think the concept of the concept which I think you're making is that people do not want information to be constrained. They want as much information as they can possibly find to make an informed decision.
And easy to find what they want.
And easy to find. Now, the internet does that. It actually pushes to the maximum point of the human population. Everybody can access it, every piece of information that you could possibly want. The challenge for businesses like ours is to condense that massive amounts of information so that people don't just sort of drink from the fire hose. There's so much information coming at you, it actually becomes overwhelming. What's important to me as the homeowner, the vendor and the agent? So we intend now to have sort of maybe 200 or 300 different pieces of information that you as an agent
can tap into.
You as a vendor and you as the homeowner say, well, here's my menu. I want to pick 1, 8 and 15 in terms of the menu list, because that tells me a little bit about Glenelg or Norwood, where we are today, in South Australia. I mean, that's where we're going. Because our job, we just see ourselves as effectively the stock market. We don't do the transaction. We provide the data for people to be informed.